Have you ever wondered why people only notice you after you've distanced yourself? Why, when you finally stop chasing someone or something, they suddenly become drawn to you? It feels like one of life's strange ironies, yet it reveals a profound truth about human nature. This isn't merely a trick of fate, but a reflection of an ancient principle deep within us, a principle that philosophers, particularly the Stoics, understood well. The paradox of desire teaches us that the more we grasp at something, the further it slips from our reach. But when we release our need for it, it often returns to us effortlessly. This paradox isn't just about romance or attraction. It's a universal principle that applies to many aspects of life, friendships, opportunities, and even success. The Stoics, masters of self-control and emotional resilience, believe true power lies in letting go. When we stop clinging to external validation and release our grip on what we cannot control, we create space for something far more profound, inner peace and quiet confidence. And this calm self-assurance draws others toward us, making us more attractive, more magnetic, without the need for pursuit. This video will explore the Stoic wisdom that reveals why you become more desirable when you detach from desire. By understanding and applying these timeless teachings, you can transform your relationships and entire approach to life, finding strength and fulfillment within yourself. If you're on a journey of self-improvement, seeking to break free from the cycles of dependency and need, this insight will guide you toward true inner freedom. If these ideas resonate with you, and you're ready to explore more Stoic wisdom and personal growth content, subscribe to this channel. Together, we'll dive deeper into the philosophies that can reshape your mindset and help you live with greater purpose and power. Don't forget to hit the like button if you find value here, and share this video with others on the same path. 1. The paradox of desire. At the heart of many of our struggles and relationships lies a paradox that few people recognize. The more we desire something, the more elusive it becomes. This is one of life's most challenging lessons. When intense and unchecked, desire often pushes what we want further away. It's a strange phenomenon, but one that Stoic philosophers deeply understood. They taught that chasing something too fervently allows it to control us, leaving us vulnerable to disappointment and frustration. The more we grasp at someone's attention or affection, the less likely we are to receive it, as we inadvertently communicate neediness and dependence. This paradox is not just an emotional or psychological quirk. It reflects a fundamental truth about human nature and how we interact with the world. People are drawn to those who radiate calm, confidence, and self-assurance, not those who seem desperate for validation. When you are constantly seeking approval or affection, you send the message that you are incomplete without it, and this energy naturally pushes others away. Stoicism teaches us that by releasing this need for external approval, we reclaim our power and shift the dynamics in our favor. The key is learning to let go of control, desire, and the need for affirmation from others. When we stop chasing, we stop giving others the ability to define our worth. This doesn't mean we stop caring or stop being engaged in our relationships. It means we learn to detach from outcomes, understanding that true contentment comes from within, not external sources. This is why, paradoxically, it often comes to you when you stop wanting someone or something so intensely. You become a person of quiet strength and inner peace, and that is deeply attractive to others. If you are caught in the cycle of chasing validation or affection, take a step back and reflect on where that desire comes from. Is it rooted in a sense of incompleteness or fear? The more you can release these attachments, the more you free yourself to live in alignment with the Stoic principles of self-control and emotional resilience. In this state of inner peace, where you no longer need others to complete you, you become most magnetic. By understanding this paradox of desire and practicing Stoic detachment, you will transform your relationships and your relationship with yourself. You will discover that the less you need from the outside world, the more it naturally flows toward you. 2. The importance of letting go. One of Stoicism's most challenging yet liberating lessons is the art of letting go. In a world that constantly tells us to chase, control, and hold on to what we desire, the Stoics offer a different wisdom. The more you release your grip on the things outside your control, the more peace and power you gain. Letting go is not about giving up or withdrawing from life. It's about understanding that our true strength lies in mastering our inner world rather than trying to manipulate external circumstances. We place ourselves emotionally bonded when we obsess over outcomes, whether it's the attention of someone we care about or the success of a specific goal. We become anxious, desperate, and constantly on edge, fearing that we might lose what we strive to attain. The Stoics understood that this attachment is a form of self-imposed suffering. Epictetus wisely noted, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In relationships, this translates into a powerful shift. When you stop trying to control how someone feels about you and stop over-investing in whether they reciprocate your feelings or notice your efforts, you regain your power. This is not about being cold or detached emotionally, but about realizing that real love and connection cannot thrive under the weight of control. By stepping back and allowing things to unfold naturally, you open up space for genuine attraction and connection to flourish. In this sense, letting go is about trusting the flow of life. It recognizes that not everything is within our power to change, and that's perfectly fine. Instead of forcing someone to notice or appreciate you, you focus inward, on your own growth and peace of mind. And paradoxically, in these moments of calm detachment, others are drawn to you. Why? Because you radiate a quiet strength that doesn't depend on external validation. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself to release attachment to outcomes. He understood that our well-being is compromised when we invest too much emotional energy into things we cannot control. When you adopt this Stoic mindset, you stop worrying about whether someone will return, whether their interest in you will reignite, or whether you need to do more to win their affection. Instead, you focus on living honorably, respecting yourself, and embracing the present moment. Letting go is an act of courage. It requires you to release the need for control and embrace uncertainty. But in doing so, you discover a more profound sense of peace and power within yourself. You realize that your happiness does not depend on anyone else's actions, and that true fulfillment comes from how you choose to live, not how others treat you. This shift in mindset is at the core of Stoic philosophy. It is about finding freedom from attachment and, in that freedom, discovering your greatest strength. When you master the art of letting go, you begin to see that what is meant for you will come in its own time. You no longer need to manipulate situations or hold on too tightly to things not meant to stay. Instead, you trust that life will bring you what is right for you when the time is right. And in this state of trust and peace, you become a person others naturally gravitate toward. Someone who is strong, confident, and at ease with themselves and the world around them. By embracing the power of letting go, you stop trying to control everything, and in doing so, you gain control over the most important thing of all, yourself. You cultivate a sense of inner freedom that makes you more attractive, resilient, and at peace. And it is this inner peace, this Stoic wisdom of releasing what you cannot control, that creates space for authentic connection and love to enter your life naturally. 3. Human psychology and Stoicism. Why is it that the moment we let go, we find ourselves suddenly more desirable in the eyes of others? The answer lies in the intricacies of human psychology, which Stoic philosophers understood long ago. It's not just about acting indifferent or playing mind games. It's about genuinely cultivating a mindset of detachment, a state where the opinions, moods, or desires of others no longer sway you. This detachment is not apathy, but a deep understanding that true strength and contentment come from within, not from external circumstances or relationships. Epictetus, one of the most revered Stoic thinkers, famously said, "What matters is not what happens to you, but how you react to it." In relationships, this principle is profoundly relevant. When we constantly react with urgency, seeking attention or validation, we put ourselves in a position of weakness. By default, the person who chases is the one who lacks control. On the other hand, when we step back and react with calm indifference, when we no longer feel the desperate need for others to validate our worth, we change the dynamic entirely. Suddenly, we are no longer followers of desire. We become masters of ourselves. This transformation is one of the core teachings of Stoicism. True power comes not from manipulating or controlling others, but from mastering our inner world. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we control only our thoughts and actions, not the external world. When you fully embrace this concept, you stop trying to bend people or situations to your will. Instead, you accept that others' opinions and actions are beyond your control and turn your focus inward toward your own growth and self-respect. This shift creates an aura of confidence that is undeniably attractive. Many fail to realize that this detachment, this stoic indifference, is not about pretending not to care. It's about genuinely not needing to control or possess. When you cultivate this mindset, you break free from dependency. You no longer need someone to make you feel whole because you understand that your completeness lies within. This quiet confidence, born from self-mastery, is what others are drawn to. When you live according to Stoic principles, your actions are no longer driven by desperation or insecurity. Instead, you embody a deep sense of self-worth immune to external fluctuations. In this state of self-assurance, you become most attractive, not because you are playing hard to get, but because you radiate the calm power of someone who knows their value, regardless of others' opinions. By adopting this stoic approach to relationships, you shift from a mindset of need to one of independence. And it is in this independence that true freedom and true attraction lies. 4. The power of absence. There is an undeniable truth that the Stoics understood well. When embraced with intention, absence can be one of the most potent forces in human relationships. Just as fire needs air to grow, personal or professional relationships thrive on space and the delicate balance between presence and absence. When you constantly insert yourself into someone's life, always available, always present, you risk becoming unnoticed and taken for granted. But when you step back and allow your absence to be felt, something profound begins to happen. People start to appreciate your presence. Absence creates longing, a desire that constant closeness cannot generate. This is not about playing games or manipulating others into wanting you more, but about understanding a simple principle of human nature. We value what is rare and give less importance to what is always available. The Stoics, with their deep focus on emotional discipline, saw the wisdom in creating space, not just in relationships but also within ourselves. By withdrawing and taking a step back, we allow others to experience the void we leave behind, and in that void, they realize our value. In relationships, this power of absence is often underestimated. We fear that if we step away, we will be forgotten, replaced, or overlooked. But in truth, when done with the right mindset, absence can heighten appreciation. Think of how we miss the sun after days of rain, or cherish a friend we haven't seen in a long time. The absence of space can rekindle the spark that the constant presence may have dimmed. It allows others to see you in a new light, miss your presence, and crave it again. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, often spoke of the value of withdrawing, not as an act of isolation, but as a means of personal growth and self-reflection. When you temporarily remove yourself from a situation or a relationship, you not only give the other person the opportunity to miss you, but you also give yourself the time and space to cultivate your inner strength. This time apart is crucial for your development, as it allows you to reflect on your needs, goals, and sense of self-worth independent of others. Absence, in this sense, is not only a tool for rekindling desire, but also for rediscovering your power. When you step back, you create an air of mystery and depth that is inherently attractive. You are no longer just the person who is always available and easily accessible. You become someone whose presence is valued and missed. When filled with purpose, whether through personal growth, new passions, or simply time spent in solitude, this space becomes fertile ground for strengthening your relationships in a way that closeness alone cannot achieve. The Stoics believe that attachment, particularly emotional attachment, can be dangerous when it leads to dependency. Absence helps guard against this by reinforcing boundaries, by teaching both you and others that your presence is not something to be taken lightly. When you master the power of absence, you demonstrate a quiet confidence that you do not need to be constantly seen to be valued. You know your worth, and in stepping back, you also allow others to recognize it. This is why absence, when practiced with wisdom, can deepen relationships rather than weaken them. It's not about disappearing or withdrawing permanently, but about understanding the balance between being present and allowing space for reflection. The Stoics taught that distance can clarify emotions, and genuine appreciation can grow in that clarity. When you step back, you give others the gift of missing you, of seeing your presence as something meaningful rather than routine. By embracing this Stoic principle, you learn that absence doesn't make you less relevant. It makes you more valuable. When you're not constantly available and can step away without fear, you embody a sense of self-sufficiency and strength that others are naturally drawn to. In your absence, you become more present and more significant. In relationships, this is a power few truly understand, but those who do find that they attract not just attention but deep, lasting respect and admiration. When aligned with Stoic detachment, this power of absence leads to a profound transformation, not just in how others see you, but in how you see yourself. You realize that your value is not determined by how often you are present in someone else's life, but by the strength and substance of your character, which shines even more brightly when given the space to be indeed seen. 5. Self-Sufficiency and Magnetism. One of the most compelling aspects of Stoic philosophy is the emphasis on self-sufficiency, a principle that leads to personal peace and makes you incredibly magnetic to others. When you cultivate the ability to be content and fulfilled within yourself, you radiate a quiet strength that draws people in without needing effort or manipulation. In contrast to those who rely on external approval for their sense of worth, the self-sufficient individual is like an oak tree deeply rooted, standing tall regardless of the winds that blow around them. This inner solidity is what makes you genuinely irresistible. At the core of self-sufficiency lies the realization that happiness and fulfillment do not come from others, but from within. The Stoics believe that external circumstances, including relationships, are fleeting and beyond our control. To anchor our self-worth to them is to make ourselves vulnerable to disappointment and instability. Instead, they taught that we must turn inward and develop the internal resources needed to thrive, regardless of what life throws our way. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This internal strength, this quiet confidence born of self-reliance, is profoundly attractive because it starkly contrasts the neediness and desperation that often accompany the pursuit of approval. Think of the person who constantly seeks validation, whose mood is dictated by how much attention they receive from others. Their neediness creates an energy that repels rather than attracts. Now, imagine the opposite. Someone calm, content, and entirely at peace with themselves. They don't chase after others because they know they are enough alone. It is this self-assuredness that draws people in like a magnet. The paradox of self-sufficiency is that the less you need others, the more they are drawn to you. When you stop relying on external validation, you create a space for genuine connection not rooted in dependency but in mutual respect and interest. People are naturally attracted to those who don't seek their approval because it suggests a deep sense of inner strength. This strength makes you more compelling, intriguing, and, ultimately, attractive. This principle of self-sufficiency doesn't mean withdrawing from others or isolating yourself emotionally. On the contrary, it means engaging with the world from a place of abundance rather than lack. When you are secure in who you are, you can approach relationships from a position of generosity, offering your presence without needing something in return. This kind of connection lasts, built not on need, but on mutual recognition of each other's independence and strength. In cultivating self-sufficiency, you also free yourself from the emotional roller coaster that comes with dependency. You no longer feel anxious or insecure about how others view you because your value is not contingent upon their opinions. This emotional stability is incredibly liberating. It lets you remain calm in rejection or indifference because your sense of self-worth isn't tied to external reactions. Instead, you draw your strength from within, and this inner peace is what others find so compelling. The Stoics understood that true freedom comes from within, from mastering your desires and responses to the world. When you cultivate self-sufficiency, you are no longer a ship tossed by the waves of others' opinions or affections. You become the captain of your fate, grounded in your value. This is the path to personal fulfillment and the key to becoming a magnetic force in the world. Self-sufficiency, when fully embraced, transforms not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. You begin to realize that you are whole and complete, just as you are, without needing someone else to validate your worth. This realization empowers you to live authentically without fear of rejection or loss. And it is in this state of quiet confidence and inner strength you become most attractive, not because you need others to see you, but because you are perfectly content whether they do or not. Ultimately, self-sufficiency is more than personal development, cultivating a presence that others are naturally drawn to. When you no longer rely on external validation to feel complete, you become a person of depth, resilience, and power. This is the essence of true magnetism. The ability to stand firm in your worth, independent of what others think or feel about you. It is this strength that will not only change how you move through the world, but also how the world responds to you. 6. The power of self-control and indifference. In a world where we are constantly told to chase our desires, to pursue what we want relentlessly, Stoicism offers a radically different approach. The power of self-control and indifference. This isn't about indifference in the superficial sense of not caring, but rather, a profound detachment from outcomes that frees us from being at the mercy of external forces. When we stop desperately chasing after love, approval, or validation, we gain something far more valuable, our inner peace. And it is precisely this state of calm detachment that makes us irresistibly attractive to others. Self-control is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics understood that our emotions and desires, if unchecked, lead us to frustration and suffering. When we allow our happiness to depend on whether someone likes us or whether we can achieve a particular goal, we are essentially handing over our power. The more we want something, the more we become controlled by it. This is why the Stoics emphasized control over our internal world, thoughts, reactions, and emotions, rather than the uncontrollable external world. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In relationships, this means cultivating a mindset of genuine indifference. This doesn't mean shutting off your emotions or pretending not to care. Instead, recognize that others' attention or approval does not define your worth. When you let go of the need to control or possess someone, you are no longer emotionally swayed by their behavior. Instead, you find stability in yourself. And it is this stability, this unshakable sense of self, that others find so compelling. Think of someone who constantly seeks validation and is always available and trying to please. Their desperation for attention can suffocate, making them less attractive because they lack self-respect and independence. Contrast that with a person who is calm, collected, and unbothered by whether others like them. This person exudes quiet confidence and self-assurance, and precisely this quality draws others in. They aren't playing games or pretending to be indifferent. They have mastered self-control and detached themselves from the need for external validation. Stoicism teaches that real power comes from within. When you stop caring so much about others think or feel about you, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster that often comes with relationships. You no longer react impulsively out of fear or desire. Instead, you approach life and relationships with a sense of calm precision. You act when it's necessary, but you don't chase. You are patient, waiting for the right moment, knowing what is meant for you will come in time. This is why those who master self-control and indifference are so magnetic. They are not dependent on others for their happiness, and this independence makes them inherently more attractive. Others are drawn to their sense of peace and stability because it is rare in a world entire of chaos and emotional turmoil. When you embrace this Stoic principle, you stop chasing after others. Paradoxically, they begin to chase you. You no longer need to manipulate situations or people to get what you want. By letting go, you become the person others naturally want to be around. In this way, Stoicism offers a path to personal freedom and a profound understanding of human attraction. When you focus on self-mastery and release your attachments to external outcomes, you become powerful in a quiet yet undeniable way. It's not about pretending to care less. It's about genuinely caring more about your inner peace and strength. 7. Turning dependence into strength. One of the most transformative aspects of Stoicism is its ability to turn what we often see as weakness, dependence, into a source of immense strength. The Stoics understood that reliance on others for our happiness, validation, or sense of worth puts us in a position of vulnerability. We hand over our emotional stability to forces outside our control, leaving us susceptible to disappointment, manipulation, and loss. But what if we could transform that dependence into something powerful? Stoicism offers a path to do exactly that. At its core, dependence is rooted in the false belief that we need something external to complete us. Whether it's the approval of a romantic partner, the recognition from colleagues, or the love from friends and family, we often feel our happiness hinges on these external factors. Yet, Stoicism teaches that true fulfillment comes from within, from a mind trained to be content with what it can control and detached from everything else. As Epictetus wisely put it, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. When we shift our focus from external dependencies to internal growth, we transform our neediness into resilience. This transformation doesn't happen by cutting people off or rejecting relationships, but by changing the nature of our attachments. Instead of seeking validation or completion through others, we cultivate self-worth from within. This allows us to engage in relationships from a place of strength rather than need. We are no longer desperate for approval because we have found a deeper, more stable source of validation, ourselves. By embracing Stoic principles, you learn to focus on what you can control, your actions, thoughts, and emotions. The things you once depended on, love, approval, or validation, become secondary to the power you've cultivated within yourself. This shift not only liberates you, but also enhances your relationships. When you're no longer seeking something from others, you become someone who gives freely, without expectation. This generosity of spirit is rooted in a deep sense of self-sufficiency, and precisely, this independence makes you more attractive and valuable to others. Turning dependence into strength doesn't mean isolating yourself or becoming emotionally distant. It's about recognizing that no one can provide you with a sense of fulfillment. You can only give yourself. Once you internalize this truth, your relationships will naturally change. You'll stop seeking approval or affection to fill a void and start seeing connections as an opportunity to share the richness of your own life. You become a contributor to others' well-being, not someone who takes from it. One of the most profound outcomes of this shift is the sense of freedom it brings. When you no longer depend on others for happiness, you free yourself from fearing rejection, abandonment, or failure. You understand that your worth is not diminished by what others do or don't give you. This realization, rooted deeply in Stoic thought, allows you to approach life and relationships with a calm confidence that is both liberating and attractive. Consider the oak tree once more, a symbol of strength and resilience. It doesn't rely on other trees for support. Its roots run deep, drawing nourishment from the earth and weathering storms without needing external shelter. Similarly, when you cultivate inner strength, you stand tall regardless of external circumstances. You don't depend on others to hold you up because your roots, your self-worth, values, and inner peace are strong enough. Turning dependence into strength is not an overnight transformation. It requires intentional practice. It means taking the time to know yourself deeply, to reflect on where your feelings of need or inadequacy stem from, and to develop a mindset focused on growth rather than approval. It involves letting go of the illusion that someone else will complete you and realizing that you are already whole. As you embark on this journey of self-reliance, remember that true strength lies in knowing you are enough as you are. When you no longer depend on others to validate your worth, you free yourself to become the best version of yourself, a person who draws others in, not because you need them, but because you choose to connect from a place of abundance. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, turning dependence into a strength that empowers you and everyone you encounter. 8. Practicing detachment. One of the most profound and challenging aspects of Stoic philosophy is the practice of detachment. At first glance, detachment may seem like emotional indifference or avoidance, but it is a powerful way to gain mastery over your life. Detachment is not about cutting people off or refusing to care. It's about cultivating the ability to engage with life fully without being controlled by the need for specific outcomes. For those committed to personal growth and self-improvement, learning to detach is a transformative practice that leads to true freedom. The Stoics understood that attachment, particularly emotional attachment to outcomes, people, or circumstances, often leads to suffering. We set ourselves up for disappointment when we tie our happiness and self-worth to things we cannot control. Life is unpredictable, and people are complex. By expecting certain behaviors or outcomes, we give away our power and subject ourselves to emotional turmoil when things don't go as planned. As Epictetus famously taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, means fully accepting that we do not control the external world. We can influence people, events, and situations, but cannot dictate how they will respond. This is why the Stoics urge us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and responses. When we let go of the need to control others or outcomes, we free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster of dependency. This doesn't mean becoming cold or distant. It means learning to love and engage from a place of inner strength rather than fear or need. Practicing detachment allows you to maintain emotional balance, even in difficult situations. Imagine being in a relationship where the other person's interest wanes. Without detachment, you might react with anxiety, jealousy, or a desperate need to win them back. But through detachment, you can take a step back, recognize their feelings are beyond your control, and focus on maintaining your peace of mind. By doing this, you protect your well-being and become more attractive because you're not relying on their behavior to validate your worth. Detachment doesn't mean withdrawing from life or relationships. It means engaging with them in a healthier, more balanced way. It allows you to appreciate the present moment and those in it without clinging to the fear of loss. As Seneca wisely said, begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. This Stoic mindset teaches us to live, love, and yet understand that everything is temporary. When we grasp this truth, we can love and live with greater freedom, knowing that our happiness is not dependent on anything or anyone external. Detachment also strengthens your resilience. When you are no longer controlled by the outcomes of events or the opinions of others, you develop an inner core of stability. You become less reactive, thoughtful, and grounded in your values. This strength makes you capable of weathering life's inevitable storms with grace, knowing that your sense of self is not at the mercy of external circumstances. You can move through life with quiet confidence, which is magnetic to others because it signifies self-assurance and emotional independence. One of the most liberating aspects of practicing detachment is that it frees you from constantly pursuing approval and validation. When you no longer need someone else's affection or recognition to feel complete, you can focus on your growth and fulfillment. This doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you stop needing them to complete you. You shift from a mindset of scarcity, where you always chase something or someone to fill a void, to a mindset of abundance, where you know you are already enough. The Stoics understood that detachment is not about indifference, but engaging with life from a position of strength. When you practice detachment, you're not withdrawing from relationships or responsibilities. You simply refuse to let them define your happiness. You are free to live, work, and pursue your passions, but without the desperate need for them to turn out in a specific way. This is the essence of emotional freedom, the ability to engage with life fully while maintaining a deep inner peace not shaken by external events. In practicing detachment, you create space for genuine connection and fulfillment. You stop chasing people, outcomes, or success and instead focus on being the best version of yourself. And paradoxically, it is this very act of letting go, of no longer clinging to the need for things to go your way, that often brings the things you desire most into your life. You attract love, success, and fulfillment not by chasing them, but by cultivating the kind of person who naturally draws them in through inner strength, resilience, and peace. By mastering detachment, you free yourself from the chains of dependency and embrace the true power of Stoicism. Living fully, loving freely, and letting go of what you cannot control. This path leads to personal freedom, more profound, meaningful relationships, and a life lived with intention and grace. Conclusion. As we have explored throughout this journey into Stoicism, the power to transform your life, relationships, and inner world lies not in controlling others but in mastering yourself. The Stoics understood that true strength, attraction, and fulfillment come from within. From cultivating self-sufficiency, practicing detachment, and letting go of the things you cannot control. By embracing these principles, you learn to move through life with quiet confidence and inner peace, unaffected by the external chaos or the opinions of others. The paradox we've uncovered is that when you stop chasing and release your grip on external validation and dependency, you create space for genuine connection, growth, and fulfillment to enter your life. In these moments of letting go, you discover your true power, not in how much you can control, but in how gracefully you can adapt, trust, and let life flow. This philosophy is not about withdrawing from the world, but engaging with it from a position of strength and resilience. You become more attractive, more centered, and more fulfilled when you realize that your worth comes from within and not from the approval or affection of others. You naturally attract love, success, and opportunities when you align with your values without the need to grasp anything or anyone. As you continue on this path of personal development, remember that Stoicism offers a guide for navigating relationships and a blueprint for living a fulfilled life, grounded in peace, resilience, and self-mastery. The Stoic way is not about suppressing emotions or disengaging from the world. It is about controlling your reactions and finding strength in yourself, no matter what the outside world brings your way. If this exploration into Stoic wisdom has resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Here, we delve deep into philosophy, personal growth, and self-transformation, providing insights and tools to help you navigate life with greater purpose and clarity. Don't forget to like this video if it brought value to your journey, and share it with others seeking to understand themselves and the world through the lens of Stoic thought. Remember, the real power lies within you. Together, let's continue to uncover it.